I had shot this video before and it was long and it was a little bit rambling. So I'm trying to make this more concise. So on September 10th, 2025, political commentator Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And I'm talking about that because I saw something online. I'm like, this seems a bit hypocritical. So Grummz and Asmongold are going to work together to compile a list of people who liked a tweet that was, must be real, probably celebrating the passing of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was not a uncontroversial figure, okay? I personally didn't like him. He said some awful, disgusting, racist, terrible, bigoted things. He was, in my book, not a good person. This isn't me advocating for him to have gotten assassinated or anything like that, but I'm not that kind of person to try to suddenly launder someone's reputation when they're an awful person. If you want respect in death, should they earned it in life? That's my motto. But you have this particular group, Asmongold and Grummz and all those guys, right, who are trying to compile a list of people who like to tweet because they're game developers and they want to get them fired. That's it, which is harassment. And in my brain, I go, what does this do? Right? This doesn't undo what happened to Charlie. This doesn't undo any of the victims of gun violence, including the other victim of gun violence that happened in the same time in Colorado. There was 2 teenagers wounded, 1 dead. This does nothing but allow them to be hateful. And that's what I want to talk about right now. They are using this as a permission structure in order to act out their vengeance, right? They are using this so they can take out their frustration at their ideological opponents. Because again, making a list, and Asmongold wants to make the list and have a video on it. And we know what happens when he makes videos on people. They get harassed. At minimum, they get harassed. And he's doing this intentionally. He knows that's going to happen. He has said as much in the past when we were talking about what happened to Take Us North. He knows that when he makes a video on someone, they're going to get the worst kinds of people after them. And this is because they like the tweet. This is from the same group of people who, like Grummz, for example, who just recently stated that people care about words too much. They get offended by words and all that stuff. These are from the same ideological groups who will say cancel culture is bad. Let game developers do what they want. Quit trying to censor people, right? And yet here they are, because they do not agree with someone liking tweets of disparaging someone who passed away. Now they should get fired. The hypocrisy here, and as obviously, is the fact that Asmongold himself has said worse things. He has called for the genocide of Palestinians. And I know he would say, oh, but he apologized. You think he actually changed his worldview? You think he suddenly thinks that? No, because look at the content he's putting out now. It's more deranged, it's more unhinged. This is not a person who actually cares about other people who aren't directly connected to him, okay? He doesn't care about that at all. When the Minnesota shooting happened, right? He was like, well, it's trans people's fault. It's all their fault. But where was this talk when not 2 months ago there were Democrats in Minnesota who got murdered? Where was suddenly this insight, this caring? Where was the list? Hey, you remember there was a trans person who unfortunately took their own life. I made a video about that because you were being very disgusting about that. How come you weren't caring about that? How come there was no outrage there? Oh, but now that it's someone who you politically align with, oh shit, let's make a list and get these people fired, because that will accomplish, I don't know, something. You can't have it both ways. You can't act like, I mean, didn't Asmongold recently say that, he gets like death threats all the time or whatever, who cares?
What do you think happens to me whenever somebody makes a tweet about me that says that I'm a racist? Like, what do you think happens to me when somebody makes a tweet about me that says that, like, I hate trans people? Well, I get hate for that. And so, like, really, I don't care if people get hate. I don't care at all. That's what they get. Too bad. They should have thought of that before they decided to start talking shit.
So then why is it suddenly a big deal if these people are like, we don't like Charlie Kirk, we're happy they passed away? Like, why does that matter? Again, these people are inconsistent. They're hypocritical people who are inconsistent because all they want is permission to be awful. That's it. And like I've stated in my past videos talking about, well, specifically empathy and how we are lacking it, this is what happens. People like Asmongold, like Grummz, like the recently deceased Charlie Kirk, they put out rhetoric that allows for this type of shit to foment. Like, they are active contributors into the current issues in our society because they are the ones who are extremely reactionary, who will say shit with no evidence and put fucking targets on people's backs. Again, going back to Take Us North, calling it an illegal alien simulator, knowing by using that sort of phrasing, they would get attacked. Why isn't Grand Theft Auto a crime simulator? Why, isn't Hitman considered a murder simulator? Right? They know that the words that they use will have a profound impact on their audience. And so they use specific words to elicit specific responses. Illegal alien simulator. He knows that was inflammatory. He did it on purpose. These are not people who care about the safety of others. They don't give a shit. The issue here is that someone on their ideological side was harmed, and that's why they care. Tangentially, but that's why they care. They don't give a shit. You have not seen them talk about any victims, right? When the last shooting that happened in Minnesota, not the one with the Democrats, but the most recent one, you didn't see them talking about the victims. They focused squarely on the shooter being trans. Or even though the shooter themselves were detrans, which is why Asmongold essentially took back his statement, but they focused on that because they want to have enemies to hate. That's what all of this is about. Asmongold said he was taking time away to take care of his dad who has pancreatic cancer. That type of cancer is the most deadliest. There is a very small survival rate on that, right? I do not want his dad to die. I don't fucking like Asmongold. I don't have empathy for him, but his dad is his own person. I don't want him to suffer. I don't want him to go through that. He says taking time to care for him, and yet he still has time to compile a list to make a video so he can harass people. This is all they want to do. They just want to be able to attack people no matter what. And this is more to do with not even just Asmongold and Grummz, but that's truly what the conservative side does. They want to be able to be consistent victims in everything. They have no idea what the political leanings of the shooter is, but they're already going to say it's a leftist. It's a crazy leftist. And it doesn't matter what the truth is. The last few shooters from political reasons have been Republicans. The one who assassinated Trump was a Republican, but it doesn't matter. Because what matters to them is now they have permission to be awful people. I know this is a weird video to put on this channel, but again, they're going after these game developers because they liked a tweet that was celebrating the passing of Charlie Kirk. Again, Charlie Kirk was not a good person. I'm not going to sit here and try to launder his reputation. He's, again, has said racist, awful, bigoted shit. People are allowed to not be upset that he passed. People were happy when Queen Elizabeth passed away. When you do awful, terrible shit to people, when you are promoting awful, bad things to happen, you can't be surprised when people are happy when you're gone. Just what it is. We are on the internet. People make jokes about fucking 9/11, which you'll probably see a lot tomorrow because tomorrow's 9/11. This is the internet. So it's hollow to see people, especially like Asmongold and Grummz, suddenly care about this. They don't care. This just allows them to be harassing people. That's it. And to make themselves feel good because now they have the moral grounds to do this, even though, again, Asmongold's advocated for the genocide of Palestinians. Grummz himself has been charged in so many harassment campaigns against people. But these are the guys who we should suddenly think have what, developed empathy for others. I don't give a shit. Like, I just personally, if my father was suffering from a debilitating or deadly disease, I wouldn't be on Twitter trying to compile a list to go after game developers and use the veneer of someone being assassinated as, you guys shouldn't do that. These are the same people who, if you go through their own tweets, you can see the awful shit they've done and said. Like, it's just, it's so infuriating, because I have spoken at length about our lack of empathy that's been happening because of rhetoric like the ones that they spew. And I get called all sorts of names, right? I get called a clout chaser. I get called all this shit, right? And not just me, people who've said the same things as me get called this stuff. But then when they do it, now we're supposed to flip the switch? No, you don't get to pick and choose at all. They only care about this now because, again, it affected their side. They never thought it could happen to them. And what I'm here saying is, this is an issue America uniquely has. We have so many shootings. As of now, there have been 47 school shootings this year. At this pace, we are going to have, once again, more shootings than weeks in the year. This happens all the time. And no, RFK Jr., this isn't because of fucking video games. It's because we are the only country that values guns and bullets more than people. The NRA gets to dictate if people live or die. This happened with Sandy Hook, Uvalde, hell, obviously today, Trump assassination of Chimp. Nothing matters. This doesn't move anything, because at the end of the day, this country doesn't care about people. And neither does Grummz, and neither does Asmongold. This is all empty, hollow platitudes. They don't give a shit. Again, look at the content that they put out. They do not care about people. Most of Asmongold's content recently, of the last year, I would say, year or 2 years, has been him actively happy to see people suffer. This is not a person who cares about people. He cares about himself. Same thing with Grummz. They don't care about people. They were ecstatic when Trump won, Grummz at least was, because now his ideological enemies are going to suffer. Asmongold saw this as a constant opportunity. These aren't people who give a shit about people. Okay? They don't. They just want to harass others. They just want to be awful to other people and profit from it. That's it. So when that little video goes out and people get harassed, just understand that that was the goal. They wanted them to be harassed. This has nothing to do with doing better or trying to, bring the country together or pass sensible gun laws to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone again, to make sure people aren't, orphaned or lose their parents or lose their children. No, this was specifically so they could harass game developers.
I feel like the more that we find out, the worse it gets. The community has been a safe space echo chamber of a bunch of these psychotic retards. I know that. That's why I'm talking about it. That's explicitly the reason why I'm talking about it. My goal is to completely eradicate these parasites from the internet. And if nothing else, I want to completely change the narrative around whether these people are good actors or bad actors. These people are not good people. They're not on the right side of history. They're fucking bullies. They're fucking aggressive, abusive, vitriolic, mean bullies. And they lie about people, and they tell bullshit about them, and they say whatever they need to say to make other people either stay silent or agree with them.